Welcome back to The Buzz. My name is B, and for today's guest, we have That Guy Thing Me.
What's up, man? What's up? I'll do intros, as you see. As you can see, I do not do intros.
That's all good. Um,
Want to give me a suggestion as to what to do? Like, tell me something to say. Tell me something.
Something to say.
Anything.
Well, my audience might not be familiar with you, so I would love you to
I
give.
don't think anyone other than 4 people on TikTok are going to be familiar with me.
Well, let's change that. Let's
Yes.
give us a brief intro
Just
on.
let's snatch your audience.
No, I want more people to see the amazing work you do because you're very active on my Discord server, and I want more
Yes.
people to see it. So, what is it that you do? And yeah, just tell us a bit about yourself.
Uh, I mostly do painting on Transformers, specifically cell shading. I do a bit of everything, but I'm best with cell shading. Like, that's where I actually do good. Lately, I have started doing commissions for it and started a business for that and 3D printing. And it's going a lot better than the first time I tried, because I did try that a few years ago, but I wasn't exactly known about the fact that I'm dog shit at painting at that point in time. So it didn't work. Yeah.
So, you've been doing this for a little while now, then?
A while now, yeah.
I gotta ask, like, what got you into Transformers full stop? Like, that was because this is a lot of what you do is usually Transformers themed, so obviously a big part of your life. I see the poster in the background there. um, yeah, so tell us, where did that obsession start?
Parents are the ones that have started this crippling addiction. Um, so when I was younger, they had me watching the movies, Prime, and Rescue Bots. And that's where the addiction has started.
So your parents were into it then as well? Like, were they into the G1 and that sort of stuff, or?
Not really, no. My dad, he liked the movies, but that was about it. And then I just became completely obsessed with it.
So that was like the live action movies then, like the Michael Bay and the.
Yes, yes. I actually never watched G1 till 2023
Oh,
because
really?
I don't know. All I saw when I looked at it was animated cartoon, something for 5-year-olds, until I actually watched
Yeah, and it's a
it.
so animated cartoon for teenagers. It's... No,
I mean, that
I.
still stands for 5-year-olds, but I like it.
Yeah, no, my experience is very weird because like I'm a relatively younger fan like yourself, but I did watch G1 because I found a bunch of like old DVD box sets and everything. So I have the nostalgia for it, like all of the original Transformer fans, but I'm not. So when you get it online, people haven't seen my videos and they're like, "Oh yeah, he's in his 40s or whatever." I'm like, "No."
No, you just look the part.
So you've been into Transformers because of the Michael Bay films and everything, but
Yes.
um was there a particular part that really grabbed you? Was because it obviously Michael Bay got you into it, but is that what made you stay with it?
Well, it grabbed me because big robots beating the shit out of each other. To my little 4-year-old brain, that was perfection. But I'd say my favorite scene that kind of pulled me into it would be Devastator in Revenge of the Fallen. Just that big motherfucker. Okay, that's one. Put one on the counter.
I'll put it somewhere up here. I'll put it there.
Just get a counter.
Yeah. Oh god, Devastator. He's one of the like most intricate CG models at the time or something, wasn't he?
Oh, for sure. Oh yeah. I feel bad for the people that had to animate that. Feel worse for the computers that blew up.
I think that was a thing, wasn't it? That was like some of them just.
Yeah, like a few of the computers they used to animate it just kind of blew up.
Oh my gosh.
I guess robot, I guess.
So you say you watched Prime and Rescue Bots as well. Um,
Yes, yes.
what did you think to those? Did you prefer them over the films, or were they about on par?
Mm,
Because they're a bit of a different
I'd say
tone.
about one part. I mean, the shows are what I watch the most. Like every day when I'd get home from school, go watch them. Right. Uh, the movies I'd say were the coolest thing though, just because to my little tiny child brain, big robots ripping off each other's faces was the coolest thing ever.
So I got to ask then, Transformers One, the latest Transformers movie. What did you think to that? Because it is a very different aesthetic, a very different tone, and I personally love it. But I know someone such as yourself who's grown on the Bay films and stuff, it's a bit of a tone shift.
It's the best one they've released so far. That's all I can say.
Hey.
Better than G1, live action, better than all of them. I mean, I have a poster literally right behind me.
I got to see it finally this week after wanting to for
Took you
ages.
long enough.
No, I totally agree. I think it's I'm a G Warner. 80s films my favorite, but no, that beats it out. So that tells you it's good. If you've not seen it already, go and watch it. I know you have, but the audience watching, you do it.
Too bad you had me scheduled for this week and not next week. Can't really talk about the movie yet. It's really still in that spoiler zone, because it hasn't even been released in the UK to my knowledge.
That's fair. That's
Which sucks
fair.
for them. That really sucks for them.
uh, well, moving off of the spoiler zone then. So you're doing all the customizing and whatnot. Where did that
Yes,
start? Was that you said you started a few years
uh,
ago? Were you doing
oh,
stuff
no, no,
before
no.
the commissions? No.
So, before the commissions, yes. Um, so, the first one I painted went horribly wrong, as per usual for most first paint jobs. Uh, it went horribly wrong. I painted a I forget what it's called, but that leader class Optimus from Transformers Prime with the huge shoulder cannons. I
Oh, the
decided to paint
weaponizer
that
Optimus.
because I wanted the Nemesis version, but my parents wouldn't buy it. And I tried to paint it, except I didn't know that dollar store paints are not that good of quality yet. I was 10.
Ah.
It, it didn't work well. It didn't come out good. But yeah, that was the first one. I have gotten better over years, but was it watching Jose's videos really helped out with getting better because when I first started out, I didn't know you had to thin paints. I didn't know there were different qualities. I didn't know you can use watercolor paints. I didn't know you have to put an overcoat on them after. I didn't know any of that, right? So my first few were just eyesores, cancer.
Learning experiences. Learning experiences.
Yes, yes. Recently, I have tried to develop a new style for cell shading, like you saw it with my
Yeah, I was
Rodimus.
going to ask you about that because I've seen a lot of that in your more recent customs, and I was going to ask how that came about because it's a difficult style to pull off.
Oh, yes. My first attempt at it was Rodimus because I loved the little print lines and ruffle lines you'd see on comics, but I didn't like the color schemes. So I took comic shading, mixed it with cartoon shading, and you end up with this.
Oh, that's
This was my
brilliant.
first attempt.
And
This was my first attempt.
I'll swap it to one
And
of your
even
Instagram
this,
pictures so they can see it a little better.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was the first attempt. The latest was Hound.
Yep,
I think you saw that one.
I have indeed.
I haven't actually put that one on Instagram yet, so I will after this, so you can include it here like you did Rodimus. But yeah, Hound was the latest one, and I am so proud of how this one came out. And this one, posting it on a few different things, finally gave me the confidence to start the commission. So I only just started those recently,
Oh, really?
but I've already gotten a few jobs. If you see behind me on that top shelf, I don't know if you can. There's a an MP44 and
Yep.
a MP36. I'm going to be cell shading those this weekend.
Oh wow, that's gonna be quite the
Um,
endeavor.
that's going to be fun, though. I'm excited. And one thing I really like, the guy does not care at all about vehicle modes, so I can just go crazy with it. So I'm going to do full devastation style cell shading for him.
So
Uh,
how does
but I
that?
don't have.
Sorry, I was gonna. So how does that work? Getting the cell shading, like, is there a particular technique or reference images you use? Is there how do you figure out how to do that without it looking bad? Because I find it quite difficult. I've tried it before, and it's not intuitive, I must say.
Here. I don't exactly have an intuitive method. I have the around and find out method.
Add it to the
But
counter.
yeah, for real though, basically I take a picture of them and put it on my drawing tablet and I trace over them. And then I take it from a few angles so I can kind of draw the same shading before I actually put it on the figure. Because then I can work out what things will match up in my vehicle, right? Because it's easy. I like figures like Hound. I have him with me here, but I do like him because it's mostly in chunks, not connected panels. So like the back of his legs, those are just the back of the vehicle all together. It's not hard to match up. And his entire chest is just one piece, the entire front of the car. So Hound was easy. I didn't really have to match anything up. I didn't even draw for this one. I just went right to the figure.
All right.
Uh, when I first started cell shading, I took a lot of my inspiration from Lectoy's Customs. I don't know if you've seen him
I
before.
don't think I have. No.
He he does really well. He does masterpiece ones, right? I did take a lot of my inspiration from that starting out, but I've kind of adapted over time through in more of the comic style, as you've seen.
Yeah,
Pretty much all.
you've got the
Yeah,
pen
pretty much
lines now.
all. Yes. That was hard to work out. The pen lines, getting it how, because I envisioned it and I saw what I wanted, but I was struggling to make it real. But I bought a couple of Cyberforce toys because fucking my Toys R Us nearby my house had them on sale for like $2 each because literally nobody wanted them. So I just bought a big stack of that and started experimenting with them. Um, they'll look like crap now. They're all in the garbage. They're gone because I mutilated those figures. But yeah, I tested on them and I'm happy with the result. It has come out good. One thing I learned during the run of his custom that I'm so happy for is one person in the Discord told me to put my clear coat on after I mask something. So if that bleeds, it's just clear, and then the actual paint is what gets masked. I don't know who told me that.
That
I
was
have no
Artemis, I
told me that,
believe.
but I'm very yes, it was.
Yeah.
I am so happy for that because that has saved me on so many things. Because before, if something would bleed, I would I would paint over it and hope for the best. And it worked. It worked well.
So a lot of your process with this, as you say, is experimental and finding out. Do you have
Oh
any
yes.
tips for anybody else who'd be interested in starting this style? Because, like I say, like my stuff is usually more grounded in realism with like the weathering, but I have
Oh
wanted
yeah.
to
Oh,
try.
I do weathering
Yeah,
too. I I haven't posted much of it because like most people don't care about it because there's a lot of people that do it easily. There's only a handful of people that really do some shit in it, right?
yeah,
So like most of what I post is still shit projects, but I I'd say I do weathering pretty well. That was what I originally started on, obviously, because I used to like collect movie figures.
mm,
Um, there was a point I did collect G1 figures, but I never watched the show. I just liked the designs, right? But I would weather all of them, kind of like Siege style.
yeah.
Um, there's actually one picture. It was like the first thing I posted in Jose's Discord of a Siege Jetfire I did. That was like 3 years ago, I want to say, maybe more. I don't really remember, but I do really like how that one came out. And I can go find the picture for you later if you want to like put it
Oh,
up here.
absolutely,
Uh,
absolutely. I need more
yeah,
people to see
I
your work because,
yeah,
yeah, this is.
yes, I here I'll find you that picture later. But yes, I did start with weathering. Cell shading was an absolute learning process. There was the Megatron. That was my first attempt.
Oh, I've seen that.
We
Yeah,
don't we don't talk about that Megatron, yo. We
yeah.
don't talk about that. I mutilated that figure. Honestly, everyone's first attempt at something usually ends up with their figure getting destroyed. So, like you were saying, giving people some tips. Don't experiment on a figure you like. Go buy something cheap that's on sale or from Facebook Marketplace and test it on that. And if you're gonna paint a KO, you have to do things differently because KO plastic is much different than the regular plastic, which is surprising. Because even on the really good KOs where the plastic feels the same, it's still something completely different. So you have to be ready to experiment with it, like buy a KO for cheap and just test on it, Like see if your paint colors come out different, if your paint chips and flakes. I did learn that the hard way. I bought a KO MP10.
Yeah.
It The painting didn't come out well because I
Oh.
didn't realize KO plastic works different because I was trying to dye it. I wanted to make a Nemesis Prime,
Hmm.
but if it was going to be jet black anyway, I was just going to dye the plastic. You have heard of that before?
Yeah, that's where you take the parts and
Yeah.
you put them. What's it? It's like hot water and dye, and it sort of like stains it
And
a color.
acetone as well. See,
Oh.
that's where the bad part is because you have to mix a bit of acetone into there. I didn't realize how different the KO plastic was. It did not react well. I left it there for the half an hour like usual. I come back and I see a puddle with Optimus Prime's head on top of
Oh
it.
my god.
Because the head was made out of die cast. So all the die cast bits, they survived, and then it's just them in a puddle.
Oh my gosh. No.
Poor Optimus. I mean, it worked. It dyed the head black.
Oh, mission failed successfully, I guess.
I don't. Maybe. Who knows?
Oh, no. I remember my foray into a lot of this was you get those dollar store deformation action warrior hero figures.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you say, the plastic on them is it's a little iffy,
Finn.
thin.
Finn.
Yeah. And I did learn a lot about like the using the primers and like you say, thinning the paints and stuff. Um, but it wasn't until I started doing my own 3D prints where I actually had put the work in to make it look extra nice. Because those guys are in a tub somewhere in the house, and it's they don't get looked at very often. Learning experience.
Honestly, don't even put them in a tub. Just send them away. Just maybe try dyeing them and hope they melt.
I'll oh what's it? I go and live on the farm.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh
Uh,
so what got you to actually begin doing the cell shading? Because we know you're very good at it, and we know a little bit about how your techniques work. But
I wouldn't
actually,
say
what I would, what makes you
that.
what made you want to start that style? Because like you say, you do weathering to begin with, and that feels more obvious, right? Like you got the Beavers figures, they're very weathered in the film. Cell shading, is it just because not a lot of people were doing it, or was this a style you wanted to see more of?
I started it because I wanted them to be accurate to the cartoon, of course. I have taken on a more focus of Gmon accuracy with really all my figures at this point because I want them to look how they came out. Like, normally I'd put any white or gray on a figure as silver, but now it all properly goes white. You get the blue windows, all the vibrant colors, everything.
The windows are one of my favorite things you do because you never do straight lines. They're always slightly curved, and it's just
I
enough that it
don't
looks
like
right.
people that do that. I mean, no offense to anyone that does that, especially if you can't get the different type of window, right? But it's like it's so boring, bro. I would have animated in G1. No, I tried to get as many curves and twists into there as possible. One thing I learned: high detail paintbrushes are very helpful because you can get those thin lines. Now, one thing I do is a lot of people are surprised when I tell them because of how clean the lines are on my fingers, but I don't use masking tape. When
Oh,
I do the shading, I I just kind of wing it because I want them to feel natural, right? I
yeah.
want them to be natural. So I take my paper of the little diagram I made and I kind of semi follow it, you know. Then I just I wing it. I start painting, you know. I hope for the best. Of course. Sometimes it doesn't work, and I just take some isopropyl alcohol, clean it all up. Sometimes it does work, and actually most times it does work. But yeah, the only thing I use masking tape for are when I'm doing the windows to make sure I don't go over the window.
Yeah, yeah.
And if I'm doing a full recolor, you know, like if I'm using spray paints, that is when I would use masking tape because spray paint generally doesn't work without that.
No, no. On my
Yeah,
Soundwave 3D print I did. I used masking tape for some bits on that, but honestly, because it was my own design, I was just separating the different color parts as separate pieces because I'm not good at masking. And so I was like, if I just glue it at the end, I'll get that crisp edge. And it's so that actually leads quite nicely. So I was going to ask, do you disassemble the figures when you customize them? Do you? Because I know Jose and people, they will completely disassemble it and
yeah,
everything.
down to the pins and everything. I don't. Well, I semi do and don't. Like, if I'm spray painting something like Trailbreaker here, he used to be the Diaclone one, you know, the blue release in Gentle X.
Oh,
He used to be that
DK
Diaclone.
something.
DK3 or something like that.
Yep.
DK Breaker. Um, yeah, that's what this figure used to be. So any part I wanted to be white or red, I just kind of took off. I masked off the joints and I sprayed it.
Yep.
And then I did the same for spraying the white parts and I put it all together. I shaded it, you know? If I'm spraying something, then I then I will take it apart. But if it's just gonna get shaded, I don't bother with it.
Yep. So, when you're doing such intricate paint jobs like the cell shading, um, how do you stop chipping from happening? Because obviously you're gonna put all that effort into those lovely details,
Yes,
and then you're gonna
I have
transform
found.
it.
Um, so I've found something most people don't think of using is automotive products on their figures. Um, now I know it sounds weird, but in the automotive section at the local stores in my city, they have this DX2 Painter's Touch stuff. You know, specifically, it's a I forget what the word is. It's a rust-based um, clear coat. You know, it's meant to stop things from rusting, but you put it on the figures, and no matter what I do, I cannot chip them. Like, I actually wanted to put this to a test. So one of my figures broke. Cousin, the little mouse, got his hands on one, and it was broken. So I decided now's the perfect time to put this stuff to the test, right? So I took a hammer and I started beating it,
Oh my
and
gosh.
even though the figure cracked in a couple places, none of the paint chipped. And it doesn't affect the transformation, articulation, nothing. Because you mask off the joints because it's a spray paint kind of thing, right? It comes in a
Yeah,
rattle can. And it's not expensive either. One can lasts me about 20 figures, and it costs $10.
that is. I'm gonna have to try that in some of my 3D prints now. Is
Yeah,
that?
it's called DX2 Painter's Touch um, Clear Coat.
Yeah.
And they have a few different ones actually. They have a glow in the dark one, a metallic one. a matte one, which I use the matte finish one on my fingers to make it look like the comics, right?
Yeah.
So I use the matte finish one. They have a semi-gloss one, a gloss one. They have a bunch of different kinds too. Like they are really good. I also use that company for my primer, right? Because I don't know, no one thinks to use automotive products on these things, but they, for my 3D printed helmets you've seen, I
Yes.
put on Bondo spot putty. It's made for fixing small cracks and stuff in cars. Um, Put it on there and sand it down a bit, and it perfectly fills in all the print lines, any gaps, everything on those helmets.
Okay, I'm gonna have to try that because I just
Yeah,
use like wood filler and spackle and stuff, and that's good enough. But
I yeah, but it's called Bondo Glaze and Spot Putty.
yep.
I got the idea from this guy called the Galactic Armory. That's what he uses, and it just works so well. When you go to sand it, though, if you're using an electric sander, wear a damn respirator. It won't kill you, but it won't hurt. It won't kill you, but it'll hurt to breathe in.
I always think of I don't know if you've seen his videos, but Craftsman, little puppet dude, he's always like, always wear
Oh
use a
yes,
dust mask, always wear use a dust mask, and I
yes,
take that to heart, even if I'm just doing like a PLA print, no filler or anything, and it's like, nope, I shouldn't
yeah.
be breathing anything in
And
other than
if you're not,
oxygen.
yeah, yeah, and if you're not gonna wear one of the good quality masks, at least wear like a COVID mask or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, that's what I do.
Just
It's
something to protect your lungs.
I find because when you're doing plastic and stuff like that, the particles are big enough that
Oh
like
yeah,
it's usually fine to just
oh,
use a covered mask. Obviously, the higher quality the mask, the better. But if that's all you have, that totally works.
obviously.
Um,
But at least wear something. Also, I'm just noticing it in the background. Superion lost an arm. What happened there?
oh, got into one too many fights in Metasaur there. No, oh, that was my original combinable with Superion. And I don't know if you remember at
Yeah,
the time, Air Raid was an absolute nightmare to get a hold of. And with child
I
money,
just kind of,
not did not happen.
I, me personally, I just painted another figure. Like I pulled a lazy eyebrow and I just painted another figure into air raid.
I am considering trying to go back and source him, but with the rumors of the legacy one, I'm not too sure if I'll
Honestly,
bother. We'll see. We'll see if it's enough of an upgrade.
honestly, at that point, buy a knockoff if you really just want to complete it. Um, there's these sets of knockoffs. A company called HCX makes them. It's $50 Canadian at least.
Yep.
But yeah, they're good quality. I have their Bruticus, Superion, Defensor, and they have a downscaled um, what's his name? Devastator that
I've
scales with the
seen that
rest of them.
one. Yeah, I didn't realize it was
Yes,
them.
it's that one. Yeah, but they are really good quality, surprisingly enough.
That's cool. I've never actually really dabbled in KOs or stuff that often. So
Yeah,
I've gotten like the barest minimum of experience from like other Transformer fans that are
yeah.
letting me have a look at their
Um,
copy.
I if I ever get KOs, it's of figures that are too expensive and I can't find one for a good price. Like Studio Series Sentinel Prime,
Mm.
Studio Series Ironhide, and I had a KO of the Rise of the Beast Optimus, but I did recently get my hands on an official one. So
Oh.
that's good.
I wanted to I wanted to actually that segues brilliantly because I saw your stop motion using him recently. And I wanted to talk about your
Oh
animation and
yeah,
bits like that because that is I don't know if
yeah.
you know
I
this,
am
but
rusty.
I do all the Blender animations now, right? But about 10 years
I've
ago,
seen those. Those look awesome.
thank you. But that all started with the stop motion. I was watching Lazy Eyebrow and I was like, "Pwah, I can do that." Got my phone out, did the stop motion. So I'm quite familiar with the process and how grueling it is. um so tell us about
I
your
am
stuff.
rusty. um, so I haven't really made it in a long time. I am getting back into stop motion. Like you've seen my TikTok, you know how I do the kind of flash motion videos where it's like it's almost stop motion, but it's not. They're a lot more static, you know?
Yep,
Like,
yep.
I don't know if you saw that when you were combing through my account,
Oh
but
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a fun style.
I plan on replacing all that kind of style with stop motion now. Now that I plan on doing videos daily, weekly, having an actual schedule, I will be replacing it all with stop motion, right?
Yep.
There is just one thing that makes me sad. If I ever do become a bigger creator and I do get good amount of views, they don't let Canadians be monetized on TikTok.
Oh, why?
Yeah,
Why is that? Why is that? Is that some sort of?
I'm not sure. If you live outside of the US, you don't get monetization on TikTok for some reason.
Oh
I'm not sure
wow.
why. It's weird, you know?
I would just upload everything onto YouTube Shorts as well, and
Oh yeah. That's the thing, because my TikToks on TikTok, they already don't perform that well. On YouTube, it was even worse. Like for example, I posted one video to Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. On TikTok, it got like 5,000 views. On YouTube, it got two, and Instagram, it got none.
oh, that
So
is.
yeah, um, I plan on putting more of the long form content on YouTube. Like videos of the things getting painted, stop motion, things like that.
Yep.
And then just keep all the short stuff only on TikTok.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I sort of. Uh, you're about where I was about 2 years ago now. With the YouTube stuff. There's gonna be a hits and misses with a lot of the stuff you make, but you'll only get those hits if you keep swinging. You know. So
Oh yeah,
and
speak of the devil. Yesterday I posted a TikTok. All of my all the things I put effort into, all the customs, the skits, things like that, all the things that had nice amounts of effort, they get like 200 views. And then I posted a meme from TF1. It was I don't know if you saw it,
oh, I
but
saw that one.
a
Yeah,
joke,
yeah.
the thing with the miners and Megatron. I ain't saying it. Go watch it, assholes. Go watch it. But
Adding it to the counter.
that thing, that thing got like 2,500 likes in a day, and it took me a minute to make. All my things that I put like 10, 20 minutes of effort into, even an hour sometimes, they get like 4 likes. So yeah, that's fine. But I mean, it is still just because like I've been posting my regular content, but then that one just kind of jumps in the TF1, which is like I believe in like a week now it's gonna come out in the UK, so that kind of flow of TF1 content being like really popular is kind of going back up again.
Yeah, yeah.
It's gonna come higher.
It's unfortunately the nature of the beast in a lot of ways with the content creating and
Exactly.
stuff is that like I because I try to do stuff that I love, right? Like I will only work on
Yeah,
projects that I personally believe in and love because if you're going to
me
be
too.
sat there presenting and talking about it, you can't fake your
Even if you
enjoyment
don't
for it.
like it,
Yeah. Um
exactly. Like
but the only problem is like doesn't always mean it's going to be something popular. And so it's
exactly.
I've gotten lucky
Like
with things like the Soundwave 3D print and stuff because that's been such a but that took me
that blew up.
yeah. But then that took 2 months to make, and in those 2 months I was uploading nothing because I was working on that. And of course
Exactly.
YouTube, it wants that regularity. So I think
Dude,
in a lot of
if you
ways
miss like one day on your upload schedule, YouTube will just they hate you now.
um
I don't know, you could post even not even good content, like mid at best, and post it regularly, and you'll get amazing amounts of views, likes. And then if you post the best content YouTube has ever seen, but you post once or twice a month, they don't show it to anybody.
yeah.
That's just how their algorithm works.
I always think of people like Mark Rober and stuff like that. I personally don't watch a lot of their content, but I know they are
Yeah.
super, super big in the YouTube space. They don't
Yes.
upload weekly, and the reason they can get away with that is because of how much how much effort goes into said videos, and I think it ends up being it's
Exactly.
a balance between quality, quantity,
And
and
Corey.
what you're
Yes.
capable of doing as well. Because there is a certain point where it's like, if YouTube's not your full-time job, you don't have the time to put in the insane amount of quality.
Exactly.
You gotta, it's a fine balance, and I find once you've got that, and if you can keep doing that, then eventually stuff starts to take off. It's just a bit of a
Yes.
waiting and hoping game, really.
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah.
no, so I love the fact that you're still posting your work and getting it out there. I mean, the
Yeah. Well,
stop motions and everything. I'm excited to see more of those. Do you have anything planned that we're allowed to know early? It
uh,
might not be early when this goes out. We'll see, but
I mean, it's probably planned for like real future planning, this one, but I'm working on a script for a stop motion that revolves around a bounty hunter after Cybertron falls after the war. Um, I'm excited to see how that comes out. Currently, it's gonna be planned to be a three-part series, being about 15 to 20 minutes each. But I'm gonna have to work on my stop motion before that because I've taken like a 6 month break at this point. And you saw that House of Pain thing
that
I
was
did
great
with
though.
Optimus Prime. Yeah, but the animation is so choppy though. The thing is though, I did that without my tripod because my tripod is broken. I ordered a new one, but I just wanted to get it out because like I was so excited to get that out because it was just funny. Um, so I did it without my tripod. I might remake it in the future, but I like it. It's just not the quality I want for this next project, right? For now, for painting at least, I'm working on a Devastation Optimus from the Masterpiece molds. That's gonna be fun to see. And also, my 2-year-old niece held the gun Megatron and went pew pew pew. It was amazing.
So how are you gonna tackle the masterpiece figures? Because they're quite. I mean the Trug figures you get nowadays are pretty complicated, but the parts count's a lot lower, the size is a lot smaller. Like, do you have a
Yes,
plan of
well,
how to tackle those?
hopes and prayers. All right, so for the Optimus, I feel like it'll be easier than Megatron because it is the MP10 Optimus, you know? It uses the real chest, it uses the arms. Like, it transforms a lot like Earthrise Optimus, actually, just with the torso doing more. So I'm not too worried about that. And plus, there's already toys of it cell shitted. Like, I don't know if you've seen that one knockoff of it that's cell shaded.
I don't
That
believe
thing's
I
beautiful.
have, no.
Well, there is. I'll send you a picture of it, but there's
Absolutely,
a
yeah.
KO knockoff of MP10 that's cell shaded. It looks so good. And Megatron is the one I'm worried about because it's MP36,
Oh no.
the most complex figure I've ever seen, and I have to somehow shade it.
I've never got to handle
Okay.
that figure myself.
Luckily,
I'm jealous. I
luckily, in this case, I'm in luck because the guy does not care about Megatron's alt mode because he's like, oh, it's out of scale anyway. I never transform it. So he does not care about Megatron's alt mode, so I don't have to worry about the panels matching up, which was such a relief because when he said, oh, Q Shada MP36, I was just scared at that point because, like, you know, if these don't come out well, not only do I have to refund the money for the paint, which I already paid for, I also have to buy new figures, and these things are expensive. I
oh.
really want them to come out well, you know? I don't know. I've done a couple commissions now since I started the business. The G1 tracks, you saw that.
Yes,
Uh,
yeah,
Kingdom tracks. Uh, I did a Gamer Edition Megatron Prime and Starscream, and two of the which mold was it? Oh yes, the Siege Seeker I did two of those into Slipstream, and I don't know if you've seen my custom original character, Cloud Striker, the black and white one.
Oh, is that on your
But
Instagram? Is that the?
yes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the banner picture with the two seekers. Um, yes, those. He asked me to do the white one for him. So it's going well. The printing business as well is going decent. I've gotten
I
three
was gonna ask you
orders
about that
from
because
clients.
we've touched on the printing briefly with like the bondo and the film
Yes,
and the helmets and stuff. Where did
really.
that start? Where was because for me like 3D printing was like okay, I want to make my own Transformers figures. What's the best way to do that? And at the time, 3D printers was starting to get more affordable. A makerspace had just opened,
Oh yeah,
and it was
they're
like
so affordable now. You can go on like Facebook Marketplace and get a good printer for like $100 now.
yeah, it's
Like
insane.
that's like just over what you'd pay for like a legacy Blitzwing in a store right now.
Yeah,
And for
yeah.
that, you can get an entire printer at this point, and not even bad one like an Ender 3 you can get for $100.
Ender 3s are great. I've got the Ender 3. Is it the
Yeah.
SE? Yeah, I think it's that one. I'd have to double check, but I've got that was my first working printer of my own. I had a MakerBot Replicator 2
Oh,
before that, and this model's from 2015. I mean, it worked briefly, and then it kept melting its own thermocoupler. And
so we both started with a broken printer.
yep,
Because
yep.
no, so my first printer, I didn't want to invest much into it. So I bought an Ender 3 for $50 off Marketplace with upgrades. I didn't know how much these were, so that was already mistake number one. Mistake number two was when it was running its first print, I went out to get lunch without checking it to see if it was good.
Uh-oh.
Mistake with number three was getting home and forgetting where the fire extinguisher was because it killed itself.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Um, so I just came home to this thing just set on fire. Like the print was on fire. I don't know how long it was burning. It must. All the wires were melted. I worked on that thing for weeks. Every time I'd fix something, another thing. And eventually, I had dumped $300 into it. It was finally working. I got a successful print. And I said, "Hell no!" And I sold it.
Oh my
Because every time
gosh.
I fixed something, another thing broke, and it was just going in a circle. I fixed this, this breaks. I fixed this, this breaks. I fixed this, this breaks. So I sold it. Um, I got an Ender 5 Pro. That's going to be coming in the mail soon. So I did upgrade. I have been able to print with my other printer. It's a second Ender 3. But until that new one comes, yeah. When the new one comes, I think I will be getting rid of the Ender 3. Because it's old, you know. It works, but I need to put in a lot more time for each thing I print, you know? That Captain Rex helmet over there in the background, it's not just the print, you know, I had to print it. I had to do a lot with the Bondo primer and sanding because of all of the print lines, you know, I had to level the bed. Luckily, the Ender 5 has automatic leveling. Thank my person an answer. Yeah. I was gonna get a resin printer, but watching the Lazy Eyebrows video on the Ender 5 really just sold me on it.
Yeah, no, I'm interested in resin printers, but I don't feel like they're really for FDM printers, like they're I don't want to say they're safe, but they're safer, right? Like but with resin, if you're not really careful with it, it can be quite toxic, and I don't feel like I'm careful enough to do that yet. Um,
I know.
and I'm happy to put the sanding
It's,
time
it's,
in.
honestly, I enjoy it. It's satisfying to do. Um, one thing I learned on my first print, you can't just sand the plastic. I didn't know that at the time on helmets. You cannot just sand the plastic, or it starts to shred it.
Oh yes, it's
Um, yeah, that didn't work out as well. Um, that helmet did come out well eventually. I love how that turned out.
Which one was that? Was that the
Currently,
Rex?
Yeah, the Captain Rex. I went for a more weathered look than the cartoon, and I like how it came out. Especially with the faded blue.
Yeah, I'll put pictures of that on the video now because that is
Yeah.
you put that in the Discord a little while back and it's absolutely. And
Yeah.
yeah, no, I've never actually printed anything that big myself in terms of like a single print. I've done Soundwave, which is
Oh, it wasn't a single print.
no?
The Rex helmet was printed in 11 different
Oh my
parts.
gosh.
So for each half of the helmet, because it's printed in half, I made 4 sections. So like the area that would cover this, one section, one section, one section, one section, and then the same for the back. So the main helmet was 8 parts, and then the antenna was three. You have the stick, the top piece, and then the little thing on the side. Um, the wait, I don't know why I call it an antenna. The little visor thing that comes down is actually articulated. Like if I pull it up, like if I pull it upwards, I can bring it down, and it stays good. Like the extra part on the ear holds it on, so I can move it freely. The visor is a welding visor that I had cut and put in the helmet. It also means I can barely see shit unless I'm inside. Because it's a welding visor, right? It's
Hmm.
meant to be real dark, to
Yeah,
protect your
no,
eyes.
oh god, I did a Mandalorian cosplay about, I want to say 2, 3 years ago now. And and that actually, I'll tell you what, Mandalorian visors, they are not the worst to see in. The T visor actually gives you a bit of peripheral vision compared to like an Iron Man helmet with the tiny eye holes. But
Oh
even
yeah, I
then,
can't.
working around the convention, I was like, okay, you're gonna need to hold my hand when we're going up the stairs because I will trip and fall face first into the ground if I don't know. Like, I might look all tough and Mandalorian-y, but I need a babysitter. I.
um, Currently, I'm doing a RoboCop helmet for a commission. Um, the thing is, I'm worried though because the guy. So whenever I print a helmet, first I make a sizing, so I can test the size, make sure it fits perfectly. Except this guy didn't want to waste the gas to come to my house and test it, and he also didn't want to pay to have the rings shipped to him. So I have an estimated size of about 10%, but I don't know the exact size. He said he's fine if it's not a perfect fit because it'll mostly be on a shelf.
Yep.
Um, but I am worried it won't come out that well because I kind of when I'm selling something, I think about quality,
Yep. Yeah.
especially for how much I have to charge for these helmets because I charge $300 for a RoboCop helmet, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because in material, it costs me 215 to make a helmet,
Oh
right?
gosh. Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
still need money. I still need to make it worth my time to give up my printer
I was gonna
for
say,
someone else's project for a while,
you're
right?
not just paying for the filament, you're paying for your time as well, the sanding and the painting and everything else. Like I think people forget
Yeah,
about that when you're buying a
yeah,
store bought
exactly.
product. Like it's a dude injection mold done, and even though it costs however much, that mold's gonna last them over 2,000 copies or whatever it is. So it's
Exactly.
a printed one. It's a luck of the draw every time if it's even gonna come off the print bed in one piece. Like,
Exactly. Like, especially if you have a failed print,
mm,
because that's on the guy printing it. That's their risk, not yours. That's theirs. Honestly, with how much people spend on my helmets, I'm surprised that they don't just go and buy their own printer. Because this one guy so far has asked me to do three um, clone commander helmets: a Rex, a Cody, and a Fox. Right?
a
Why he would choose Fox over Wolf, I'm not sure for that display, but all right, but you do you. um, but he asked me to do these three helmets. For the price of those helmets, he could have gotten a really good printer with no setup required, just print and go, with barely any sanding after, and then just spray paint it. So why he chose to go with me, I'm not sure.
I'll
Maybe
tell
just
you why.
worry about it not working out.
I'll tell you why, because even with the printers that are plug and play, you still need the know-how to get them working. And
True, true.
what you're doing, you're saying you're working with a printer that nearly like exploded itself eventually. Like, you have the
Oh
know-how.
no, I
You have
sold
the.
that one and bought another. Yeah, my first printer. Yeah, my first printer just wanted to die on a daily basis. Honestly. uh, yeah. Kind of recently, I've gotten to Hot Toys. You know, like 1/6 scale collectibles.
Oh yeah, yeah.
My poor, poor bank account. I'm looking at my Darth Vader right now, and I'm just seeing the amount of money that thing drained from me. They're nice, but they do cost a bit. But I feel they're worth it. You know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's whatever brings you joy, right? Like I.
Yeah, tell that to my parents, and they'll call you stupid. That's what my parents
No,
love to
the only thing I say is like wait for a sale if you want to get figures like Titans because eventually
tell
they'll
you.
go on sale, right? Hopefully.
The
Hopefully.
Nemesis. I have not seen the Nemesis on sale yet.
No, no. I've got the arc in the middle there. I keep covering my noggin. I don't think I'm ever gonna see a Nemesis.
You know what
I
I'm waiting for a sale for? Studio Series Air Racer. So my local Walmart has had the same four air racers for over a year now, just sitting on the shelf. No one buys them, no one touches them. They literally are in the exact same spot every time I go. I'm waiting for them to put those on sale or clearance because I like the air racer mold. I've messed with my friends. It's a good mold,
Yeah, I've got the
but
Kingdom
it's
version.
not worth $42 after tax, you know? Because that's what deluxes cost in Canada now, which is crazy because only a couple of years ago, when he was still on shelves, I bought my Studio Series 2007 Megatron for $42. Now
Yeah.
it's worth for a deluxe instead.
I always feel it's a bit like, back in my day. I really do. I
Oh no,
remember.
we ain't doing that. That
I,
was like 3 years ago.
I
They've gone up
remember.
like $10 already in 3 years.
There's one bloody core class that's costing more than a deluxe did, and it's the core class Rumble, and it's like, sorry, but him and C. Giant Hyde. I mean, I like the Rumble. I like how he looks, but it's not. They are not the same on the quality level. The
Yeah,
parts count. Yeah, nah. I understand the reasons they give behind of the whole like the actual cost of making the molds can get more expensive nowadays, and so it's they're really trying to
yes, true.
get as many repaints as they can. But
Okay, but when 90% of a wave is just repaints or an entire line of repaints, I mean, the Star Seekers, for example, though that's a good example of repaints, you know?
mm,
Generation Selects, good example of repaints. A bad example of repaints, uh, Chris, I had a figure in mind, I'm trying to remember what it was exactly.
I know Sideburns been a bit controversial.
Hmm. You know what I really don't like? That new GoBots Pathfinder. It's literally just a blue Cosmos. It
Yeah,
sucks too because with a bit of retooling, they could have made such a good GoBots Pathfinder too. You know,
are you a big
but they
Cobots
just
fan then as
wasted.
well? Because I know bits and pieces of it, but
No, I've never watched it or anything. If it's even a show, I honestly don't know.
it
But I
is, it
like
is,
some of the
yeah.
designs. You know, like the speaking of Pathfinder, the pack he was in with Warpath. That Warpath looks awesome. And I could just see that thing being cell shaded, looking awesome. Because my Warpath, my actual path, I have it cell shaded and it looks awesome. I love how that came out.
Oh, wow, I'm
I am
excited to see that.
currently, oh yeah, currently I am updating all of my older customs with the older style cell shading I used to do. Like my Snarl, for example, has a cartoon based one, so really dark colors from like season three, you know, basic cell shading. I don't really like how it looks anymore. Like at the time I loved it, but I don't really like how it looks anymore. So currently, Snarl is taking a bath in isopropyl alcohol and a bunch of other chemicals to unpaint him. Um, yeah,
Oh my gosh, that's how do you do that without melting the figures? Because for me,
I
I don't.
copy Jose. That's all I do. I copy what Jose did. Like I yeah, I don't know. Just go watch some of his older videos where he really goes through this. You know, as much as I love his newer content for the better quality, I do miss when Jose did videos like weekly showing the process of painting them, all that. It was cool to watch those. What was his first video you watched?
For me, it'd be Earthrise Optimus, and then I backtracked and found Shatter and all
That
the
was good.
others. Yeah. It's
That
so
was
good
good.
having him on the show last time. He's a great guest.
I've
It's yeah,
I
nothing but
first
praise.
found him because I wanted to paint my Studio Series Shatter, but I wanted to find a tutorial or something. So I looked all over the internet, and then on Google, I see this picture of a really good-looking Shatter. So I watched Jose's videos. I tried to copy what he did. It didn't go well because I was still using those dollar store paints and it didn't fit in then. So it didn't come. It didn't.
Learning experience, learning
Um,
experience. You gotta remember that.
yeah.
Nah, I think when I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I've never actually customized a chug figure. I am too scared to mess them up, so I end up deciding, oh yeah, it's easier if I just 3D print my own entire figure from scratch, because if I mess it up, I'll just print a replacement piece or something,
Dude,
right? Like I...
when my exactly, when my Ender 5 gets here, oh, I can't wait. I am planning on making a 5 foot tall Metroplex and putting
Ooh.
it. I don't know if you can see it, but under the TF1 poster, there's an empty space that is conveniently 5'4". So I'm gonna put a 5 foot Metroplex right there. Fortunately, this is my bedroom, so if anyone ever walks in there, just gonna see a big ass Metroplex.
You gotta put an animatronic, like, in the head, so it's like, intruder detected.
Oh, actually, I was gonna make it transformable. I'm
Oh.
working on the design right now. Um,
What are you using to design
it's
that?
mostly just Tinkercad. Yeah, because I don't know how to use Blender. I know Tinkercad isn't the best software you can use, but it gets things done really well. I don't know if you saw my Forge of Soulless Prime and
I
Star Saver
was
that I
about to
posted
say,
earlier.
that was a lot more detail than I've ever
If you
done.
put in the effort, Tinkercad can get it working well. Um, but I've never put in the effort to learn Blender, so at this point, I've given up on it. And if I ever have to do terrain detail, which I know Blender is really good for, I usually end up just making it out of craft foam, right? Like I have this one project I'm working on for. I have a Hot Toys Vader from the Kenobi show, but I don't like the display base he comes with because it's really small and it mostly gets covered by the cape. So I want to make a big ass base and have a bunch of floating rocks around him, kind of from the scene where he's throwing rocks down at Kenobi, right?
Yeah,
Especially because then once I get my Kenobi, if it ever ships,
yeah.
then I can put them together in that display. I'm gonna put it on one of those shelves back there because that has 6 shelves. I'm gonna be moving the Transformers soon. Soon that's all gonna be Hot Toys and dioramas, things like that.
That's fun. I don't know if you saw, but some of my earlier YouTube videos were dioramas and things, like the Cybertron diorama, and I think I did a Junkion one, and briefly a Rise of the Beast one that my cat decided to try and
Yeah,
eat. That was fun.
that is actually. I did see the what is it, Rise of the Beast one. That was good.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I don't know if you've seen this one diorama. It's like Bumblebee movie B. He's like laying down really injured in like a puddle in like
Yes.
a forest looking area,
Yep.
right? I don't know if you've seen that one. That is incredible. I love that.
That is, I look at my YouTube studio and it says videos recommending yours, and that is one of the number one. Because of course it's got all the
So
same tags, right? It's like Transformers, Diorama, Bumblebee. I'm like, yeah, okay, I see it.
yeah.
um,
What do you think of this upcoming line for next year, Age of the Primes?
Age of the Primes. Oh god, you're interviewing me now. I yeah, no. That
No,
is a
we're reversing it.
oh god. I'm quite excited because I mean we're getting. I mean I've got the Superior on there. Aerobots, they're some of my favorite teams. So I'm excited to see new versions of those. If they're even half as good as the Menasor they did, I'm gonna be thrilled because that Menasor was very nice.
I
Um,
mean, half of Mesor is good. You mean?
uh,
I don't know. I mean, I don't get the hate for Wild Rider. I like Wild Rider. Yeah, he has
yeah,
a big
yeah. I
ass
think
backpack,
I gotta
but
be honest,
he's
they all
still
look nice to
cool.
me. I
I don't like Breakdown specifically because I love the vehicles on my figures, and Breakdown is not a Lamborghini. They didn't even these lazy. I'm trying not to swear here. These lazy people didn't
counts to staying
even
still.
retool um the front of the vehicle. You know, like on the Lamborghini Countach, that front end is the most recognizable part of it.
Yeah,
How something they could have even done, like I forgot how to English there.
it's
It's
all
not
good.
like they don't know how to do the front end of the Countach. Kingdom Sideswipe exists. That thing looks amazing.
Yeah, I think
It's not like they can't do the front end.
was it Lazy Eyebrow that did a replacement 3D print for it?
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was good. That did look good. I think he already did one to turn Siege Hound into a 86 Hound. Man, he did it way before they ever did. I'm still so mad that Hound is locked to a 5 pack. I hope he gets an 86 reissue. I mean, me personally, I don't need it um, anymore, as you've seen, but it does suck for people that want it to have to buy the whole 5 pack. Something I've also found now Jazz's, Sunstreakers, Wheeljacks, and Trailbreakers from Earthrise are all suddenly very cheap figures.
There, I think other than Jazz, I missed out on pretty much all of them because New Zealand just doesn't get new stock really. I was surprised to find any Transformers One related stuff here. And so especially during 2020, it was like you want Sunstreaker, good luck. Uh,
Oh god, Sunstreaker. I do really like the Corden and I forgot the other one's name
spin
repaint
out.
of Sunstreaker. Spinout, yeah, the red and white ones. I've been wanting to get my hands on it, but I can't justify $90, $100 for the 2 pack, you know? Like at that point, I'll buy a couple of those new cheap Sunstreakers and paint them into the two. 3D print section. Honestly, now that I think about it, it's not a terrible idea. Something I've been doing lately, something I plan to do, is cell shade a bunch of Diaclone figures um, and put them in my G1 display. So I bought a few figures. I got the Diaclone Sideswipe, the Diaclone Breaker. I have a second one now, and the Hoist, that red one. I bought all of them, and I'm gonna cell shade those and put them into my main collection with the G1 stuff.
I'm gonna be looking forward to that on
I'll
the
probably
Instagram.
think of some new names for them. I'll probably think of some new names for them though, because DK2 Guard is not the coolest name ever, you know?
I
Uh,
understand what they were trying to do with a Dire clone
yeah,
DK, like it's
yeah,
doesn't hit the same as
it's
Trailbreaker.
weird. Yeah, just DK Breaker. To be fair, they do look cool. Like Ironhide looks real good in black. Something I did or was planning to do a while back was make a bunch of G1 versions of the movies. Because like how they kind of like how they did G1 like Prime figures.
Yup.
Um, I wanted to do that with the movie bots, but I never really ended up finishing that. So I did an Optimus out of Laser Prime, obviously because it's literally a perfect mold right here. How Hasbro has already done 4 repaints of that figure. They've done friggin' Toxitron, but not a movie product.
What's
That doesn't
it?
make sense to me.
Scourge and things like that make sense to me, but Toxitron? I mean, I'm not complaining, but it's a wild
I
card for
mean,
sure.
it's cool to finally get a Toxitron toy because before then, he has had 1 figure. So it's good to get another Toxitron, but it's like Toxitron before movie Prime. I mean, it's right there.
I think
I
they're
don't know.
waiting to see how Lockdown does in the Starseekers, and then if that does well, maybe, because you've already gotten the whole. A lot of people find the Michael Bay designs a bit controversial. Then you got a load of the Michael Bay fans who don't like G1 stuff, and it's like, are you really want to mix them together? Are you gonna play that card? Because it might backfire
Exactly.
spectacularly.
And and then you got all the 50-year-olds that are gonna be fucking storming Hasbro headquarters.
Yep.
If that happens. Uh, what is it? Yeah, some of these people really for something for a franchise that has the motto "Till all are one." You'd think it would be a lot less divided between different people, right?
I think I would say that, but then it does make sense to me because Transformers every time it reboots, it reinvents itself, right? You like Robots in Disguise
Exactly.
2015 is very different to Beast Wars, yeah, and there's only like
Oh
10
yeah.
years apart from them, which is weird to think because it's only 10 years since Prime. But anyways, um, so it makes sense to me that like
RID 2015 is only like 10 years. Holy sh!
yeah, I know,
I
I
didn't
know.
really realize that. Damn.
Rescue Bots is
Huh.
nearly 13 now, I think. All the most of the kids watching it when it came out. Um,
Yeah.
but it makes
To be
sense to
fair.
me why it's divided because when you've got a show that reinvents itself so much, right? Not everything isn't going to be for everyone. It's going to have its own little groups. When it's things like I want to say like the Batman or the superhero stuff, they're usually similar enough that fans can jump from show to show. But when you've got things like Michael Bay and then animated and then Prime all coming out within 5 years of each other, they're very different. And I can see why it's not
Yeah.
everyone's cup of tea to love everything. And I find with Transformers fans, it's either the
Yeah.
I love everything or I love only my specific part. And I'm in the camp of I love everything. I've got quite a
Exactly.
diverse shelf. But I don't hold it against people when they're like, no, I only collect G1 or I only collect Armada or something because it's like that's okay. It's what you like, you know. You don't have to like everything else just because it's got Transformers slapped on the name.
Exactly. Was it what is really crazy about what you were saying earlier? They're all releasing so close to each other. There are there's so many different subgroups between fans of the Alliance continuity. Honestly, who had the idea for the aligned continuity and what is their home address? Because what is this? Like,
I love the idea of it.
I get it. I mean, I'm okay with them switching up the designs of characters between different shows and keeping a similar story. All right, that works out. What I don't get is why during world-ending events with Unicron, Megatron destroying the entire world, um, was it crazy things like that happening during like Prime and other shows?
Yeah,
You just got the rescue bots chilling on an island. They don't even know what Decepticons are. They're just
yeah.
chilling. That's what I love. They don't even know what a Decepticon is. They just chilling.
I do. We had a couple of Prime characters come into Rescue Bots for cameos, and I would have loved if Heatwave could have shown up in just one episode of Prime. I don't care if he's a reuse of someone
I
else's
know.
design. Just you've already got Steve Blum doing Starscream in that show. You don't need to convince him to come on for that too hard, right? Like, come on.
Exactly. Yeah. I am happy to hear that in Age of the Primes we're getting a Heatwave figure. I just hope they don't screw it up as much as they did Chase. Making Chase a cliff jumper pre-tool made me so sad because that it resembles Chase, but that is not Chase. It's a square. Now I know how Prime fans felt when that RC came out.
Hi. No, I did actually like the RC. I've got her on the shelf there, but I must admit, after we'd just gotten, I think Armada stuff was starting to come out, or no, it was Beast Wars, and you'd seen just how accurate the Beast Wars figures were, and then Earthrise and G1, it was like, okay, so that's what we're, and it's like, I don't hate it, right? I do actually like it, but it was a bit of me that was like, huh.
I mean, I like the molds for different characters. I like the molds. I just don't like them as prime characters. You know, like Bulkhead. That is actually going to be part of something I'm learning. Uh, some people on the Discord have already seen one of the set, but I'm working on the Bad Batch, but Transformers. I've already posted crosshairs. I made it out of Siege crosshairs. Not because of the name, I just thought the mold would work. um, but yeah, Bulkhead from Legacy would make an amazing wrecker, right?
Well, with a name
I
like
mean,
that.
to be fair, I don't know. Fuck. I thought Bulkhead was bad, but I warmed up to him. Then they turned him into Breakdown, and hell no, 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 to the power of 10. That Breakdown didn't work. It didn't.
Again, I want to like them more than I do, and I do feel like this is Hasbro going, alright, which of these characters actually have enough of a fan base that when we eventually do Studio Series Prime figures, which you know they'll do, they're warming up to it, you know they're gonna be like, okay, his Legacy figures sell best, so we're gonna do them first, we're gonna, like, you're testing the waters, and it is also like they always want to find repaints of their molds, and I, as someone who does the designing myself, I can understand wanting to get the bang for your buck, but when you're doing stuff that's Prime inspired, that opens up a lot more options than trying to do accurate to that specific scene type characters.
Exactly. Speaking of Studio Series, like you mentioned it, the reason I never got into G1 is because I saw how toxic some of the G1 fans were, especially towards the Bay movies, which sucked because I liked those, right? So that's why I never got into G1. And around that same time, when I still had that mindset, they started putting G1 in the Studio Series, the one line that had no G1. That pissed me off at that time.
Yeah, that'll be the 86 stuff, right? That'll be
To be fair, I do love the 86 now. Got my 86 Rodimus here before he even came out.
Although technically that's Kingdom, though, right? Technically that wasn't, because that was the weird thing, right? They sort of split it up or something.
Technically, he had. Oh yeah, technically he has a custom head and a movie style paint job. So I guess that's 86 now.
I mean, apparently
Yo,
that's what the rumors are for him, right? When they eventually do, because they will.
yeah.
They will.
Have they? Oh no, they're not even planning on retooling it. Like
No, I
it
think it's got
leaked
maybe
or
a new
something
head.
that they're not even gonna. Not even the head they're planning on keeping. I mean, if you're gonna do 86 Rodimus, I'd say at least give him a new.
Yeah.
Want to know what really disappointed me with the new Optimus? They used the same matrix. I've been wanting for years a bigger matrix, just like not even that big, just like double the size, you know? Because the one we have is so small, and now seeing it even smaller with 86 Prime is just annoying. Because like all that Kingdom Rodimus has to hold it like this with just two of his
Yeah, the two
fingers
little fingers just.
because it's so small. It's just like
You give it to Ultra Magnus, and it's just hilarious.
oh. It looks like one of those little Matrix toys or keychains or whatever that you find at Walmart, and Magnus is just holding one. That's what it looks like.
I don't want to give too many spoilers to my project list, but I might be making something similar to that, a little Matrix pendant. We'll see how it goes. It's all early days, but after watching Transformers 1, you know the brain is
Dude.
going. You know the brain is going.
Oh yeah. Dude, the fight scenes in Transformers 1 were so good. And this doesn't count as a spoiler because it's in the trailers. Seeing how much Optimus and Megatron transform while fighting is so fucking cool.
I was so used to stuff like Siege, where it was like a puff of cloud appears and they swap the models or something. Or, they walk off screen, sound effect plays, and they drive back on screen. Again, not any proper spoilers, but Transformers 1, they actually transform. And it's refreshing. It's refreshing.
The show
um,
was good in season 1.
I'm really sorry. We're starting to run on a bit now because I tend to try and keep these an hour if I
Yeah, I
can.
was about to say, we should be done around now.
So, where can we find you online? You've been talking about your commissions, your
uh,
prints, your animations, and your customs. Where can
uh,
people see that?
you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook with Grimlocks ToyLab. There. I take commissions and I post semi good things. Don't go in looking for quality, just don't.
Yes, you should. Yes, you should. He's downplaying it. He is a very active member in my Discord server, the Hive Mind, and the work he posts makes me jealous. Like, I want to get my painting skills that
All right, all right,
good.
all right. Well, it
Well,
was good talking to you, man.
yeah. So no, you're more than welcome back on in a few months' time when you got some stuff on YouTube. I'm very excited to see what you do. And you got that new printer in as well. Like, feel free to send images of that in the
Yeah, so
Discord,
we'll be able
because
to make some stuff.
yeah.
Uh, Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for
Um,
being here.
can't wait to see what you do next week. Cannot wait to see what you do next week.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We'll see you later. Bye.
Have a good one.
That was brilliant. That was brilliant.